Hello and welcome back to the Military Matrix. In tonight's rapidly developing situation, Ukraine has once again shocked global intelligence communities with a bold and precision-engineered strike that has now crippled what analysts call Russia's most strategically important port complex in the western Black Sea region. For months, satellite imagery had suggested Ukraine was escalating its long-range drone capabilities, but no one, neither Western observers nor Russian authorities, could have predicted what unfolded in the early hours of this morning. What we're witnessing is not just another drone strike. It is a direct hit on the logistical core that fuels Russia's operations across multiple theaters, from Crimea to the southern mainland. As new footage continues to emerge, the scale of the destruction is now becoming clearer, and the implications are potentially massive for the next phase of this war. At approximately 3:42 a.m. local time, residents near the Russian port were jolted awake by a series of deep, echoing blasts that lit up the horizon. Moments later, Russian emergency channels began flooding with panicked communications as drones dove into key fuel depots, loading terminals, and infrastructure hubs that have long supported Russia's maritime logistics. This wasn't a random strike. This was a coordinated, layered attack carried out with an array of Ukrainian long-range naval drones, air-launched drones, and possibly a new hybrid wave approach combining electronic warfare blinding systems with precision-guided impact drones. Russian officials initially attempted to downplay the attack, issuing vague statements claiming minimal damage, but satellite and ground footage now circulating online tells a very different story. Massive plumes of smoke rising hundreds of meters into the air, flames ripping through fuel containers, cranes, warehouses, and conveyor systems shattered beyond recognition. The heart of Russia's trade and wartime supply chain has taken a hit so severe that logistics experts are already comparing it to the loss of the Crimean Kerch Bridge, arguably one of Russia's worst infrastructure losses of the entire conflict. What made this strike particularly devastating was the timing. Reports indicate the port was operating at peak capacity earlier in the night as cargo ships were preparing for outbound departures. At least 3 major facilities, 2 fuel terminals and 1 bulk cargo processing site, were precisely targeted. Drone operators were not just aiming for infrastructure, they were targeting functionality. Every strike appears calculated to shut down the port's operational capability for as long as possible, and according to early assessments, that mission has succeeded. What's even more fascinating is the strategic environment behind this attack. Ukraine has been steadily expanding its drone production lines, transitioning from tactical battlefield drones to sophisticated long-range platforms capable of flying hundreds of kilometers. This new generation of drones, some equipped with AI-assisted navigation, some leveraging low-altitude skimming flight, and others designed to evade radar by hugging terrain profiles, are now rewriting modern warfare. Russia's air defense systems, which traditionally relied on detecting high-contrast aerial threats, appear to have been overwhelmed by sheer volume and maneuverability. Hours before the strike, electronic warfare sensors in the region detected what they believed was anomalous interference, likely Ukrainian AW drones saturating the area to blind radars. This type of operation is typically reserved for highly coordinated strike packages, and Ukraine seems to have executed it flawlessly. Russian radar stations reportedly missed the approach entirely, resulting in one of the most embarrassing air defense failures of the war. When the drones finally hit, Russian crews scrambled to respond, but the cascading explosions forced emergency teams to withdraw repeatedly. The fire quickly spread across adjacent fuel lines, generating a chain reaction that forced Russian authorities to halt port operations indefinitely. Not temporarily, indefinitely. That word alone has sent shockwaves through Russia's military supply chain. For Ukraine, the strike represents more than just a tactical win. It demonstrates long-range capability that Moscow once believed Kiev could never achieve. It redefines the geographical boundaries of Ukrainian reach and proves that even Russia's deepest, supposedly well-protected infrastructure is no longer immune. It also signals that Ukraine intends to pressure Russia's logistics behind the front lines, pushing the war into an era where distance no longer provides safety. Western defense analysts are already weighing in, and many argue this could disrupt Russia's naval operations for months. The port served as a major fueling and resupply point for Black Sea Fleet support vessels, transport ships, and coastal defense logistics. With those facilities now crippled, Russia will be forced to stretch its supply chain thinner, rerouting through other ports that are already at maximum capacity or are located even farther from active operational zones. Economically, the impact is equally severe. That port handled a significant portion of Russia's grain exports, oil shipments, and military-grade material transfers. The destruction of loading terminals could cost billions in repair and lost trade revenue. Insurance companies are already reporting panic among shipping operators, with several vessels reportedly diverting course as soon as news of the attack broke. Politically, the strike places the Kremlin in a difficult position. Admitting the scale of the damage risks undermining confidence in Russia's defensive capabilities. Hiding it risks internal backlash as fuel shortages, shipping delays, and military resupply problems ripple through the system. Russia's silence in the immediate aftermath speaks volumes. No traditional strong, worded condemnation. No rapid announcement of retaliatory strikes. Just a vague, restrained statement acknowledging an incident under investigation. A phrase usually reserved for situations the Kremlin cannot conveniently spin. Meanwhile, Ukrainian officials have maintained strategic ambiguity. Though unofficial sources claim the strike was executed using a new class of naval drones with extended range, official statements simply confirmed that Ukrainian forces continue to target legitimate military infrastructure supporting Russian aggression. This vague messaging is typical of Ukraine's information strategy, never revealing more than necessary while letting footage and results speak for themselves. As the hours pass, global reactions continue to intensify. NATO officials are monitoring the situation closely, noting that Russia may attempt to retaliate with missile strikes, drone campaigns, or escalated naval actions. However, military observers caution that Russia's ability to respond effectively is constrained by its own logistical strain. Losing such a significant port doesn't just limit Russia's capacity, it reduces its margin for error. This attack also carries symbolic weight. It underscores the evolution of Ukraine's drone doctrine, showing the world that a nation under siege can develop its own high-tech capabilities and use them to devastating effect against a technically superior adversary. It demonstrates innovation under pressure, adaptation in warfare, and a strategic vision aimed at reshaping the battlefield. Throughout the day, drone footage, eyewitness reports, and high-resolution satellite images have continued to shed light on the scale of the strike. The destruction appears not just large, it appears surgically precise. Rows of fuel tanks obliterated, port cranes collapsed, key electrical substations burned, fire crews still battling to contain the blaze. And analysts say the damage could take Russia many months to repair if repairs even begin at all during wartime conditions. By mid-afternoon, at least 7 major explosions had been confirmed, with additional secondary detonations occurring as fuel stores continue to ignite. Residents reported shockwaves strong enough to rattle windows miles away. Social media channels across Russia erupted with frustration, disbelief, and panic as images leaked showing flames consuming the port's critical loading zones. Russian military bloggers described the event as a catastrophic failure of homeland defense. International security experts now believe this port strike marks one of the most consequential moments of the war's maritime phase. The sheer distance Ukrainian drones traveled demonstrates reach beyond previous estimates, and the coordinated, multi-wave design of the strike reveals a level of planning that rivals the most advanced military operations conducted by major powers. As night falls, the fire still burns, the port still smolders, and Russia faces not just physical destruction, but a psychological blow to its image of control and security. For Ukraine, this strike is a powerful signal, the capability to hit deep, hit accurately, and hit where it hurts most. This story is still developing, and we will continue to monitor updates as more footage, intelligence assessments, and official statements emerge. But one thing is clear. Ukraine has once again shifted the dynamics of this conflict in a way no one saw coming. The war is evolving. The tools are evolving, and the battlefield is now broader than ever before. Stay tuned as we continue to uncover what really happened, what this means for the future of the war, and how Russia will attempt to respond to one of the most devastating port strikes in its modern history.